I don't think that I had revolutionary goals when I started out. I was just trying to do shows that worked as shows, and I was writing the kind of music that I was listening to. And that happened to be what I guess we would call pop music or rock music. But I had grown up going to see shows, always having an ambition of writing for the musical theater. And so really all I did was to take the structure of musical theater and the sort of storytelling drive that I loved in musical theater and just set it to rock music. There was a lot of sort of criticism, and particularly in the sort of intelligentsia and critical community, that you couldn't actually tell a story using rock music. I just didn't believe that was true.
Now that I've chosen to become a palimpsest or an advisor, there's nobody wiser. Now when it comes to popular, I know about popular, and with an assist from me to be who you'll be instead of dreary who you were. Or there's nothing that can stop you from becoming popular.
You know, I wanted to be a musical theater actress. I didn't want to be an opera singer. And I grew up singing all those songs from like The King and I and Carousel and all of the things that were still being, you know, played on television and occasionally and in some movie theater in San Francisco. And that's sort of the way I thought my voice was going to work. But what's really interesting is by the time I get into high school and you've got Godspell and you've got Pippin and you've got all these other, you know, The Wiz and Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope and Raisin, you know, and things are a jazzy pop. It's funny because I end up going more toward classical music unwillingly because I know my voice won't do that. So in a funny way, I did go into classical music because my voice couldn't go where Broadway was going at the time. That vocabulary was just not going to work for the way I sang.
Dead, ordinary and dead, like everybody else. But that wasn't to be my lot in life, was it really? Oh dear. We had a
What separates me from Audra, but not necessarily Audra because she trained classically, or Christine Ebersole or Victoria Clark, let's say, okay, is that I'm specifically training to be heard in a 3,000-seat theater without amplification. And we had this conversation a lot, which was rather than him, like if he didn't understand what I said, like I remember one time I said to him, he wanted to change a note, and I said, why are we changing that note? And he said, I can't really understand you. And I said, well, let me work on it. And then once I've worked on it, if it's still unintelligible or if it's still covered, then let's deal with that. But see, your job is to come to me and say, I can't hear you here. And then I say, oh, okay, and I fix it. And then if, despite my fixing it, he still doesn't get what he wants, then we start changing things. And so that's what makes it, you know, I expect that a conductor or a composer is going to come to me and say, I have no idea what you're saying. Can you either walk down stage, fix whatever you're doing, take it to your teacher or a coach, but fix it. Because in Butterfly, they're not going to change the notes for you. You have to fix it.
it's the equivalent, I hope, if we've been successful, of a page turner, that you want to know what's going to happen next. And that, I feel, doesn't happen often enough in contemporary opera. I mean, my feeling is that, I don't know this for a fact, but I have to assume that when people went to see Tosca for the first time, when it first was presented, they didn't know how it was going to end, and they really wanted to know.
Well, they did, because it had been a famous play.
Sure.
But it's like, I think once again, it's like you get so used to La Dama Camelia or Tosca, Floria Tosca, and then you see it physical. You hear it, and it's suddenly recreated in front of you in a way you had no idea. I mean, that's what's so great, and it's those words and and the situations are the same. They're not really changed, and so I mean, that's why I think my friends had the exact same experience, which is you take something that's so direct, you know, spoken word is just really direct, and then suddenly it's musicalized, and there's something before it that brings you into it, and very often in a play, you can put your brakes on. You can put your own brakes on in the audience. But sometimes in an opera, you're seduced, you know, a musical idea starts to happen and you're listening to it, and all of a sudden you're, oh my God, I can't believe he just did that. Or, so that's what I like about when you musicalize, you know, language, is that the music can often take you somewhere where you wouldn't allow yourself to go.